welcome back to the Fireside Chat, the area of Tech Hub Live. It's great to be here with you. My name is Paul Schrimpf. I am Marketing Communications Director with AgGateway, and was a longtime participant in Tech Hub Live, and it's great to be back here and back behind the microphone here to share some insights on some things that we're working on at AgGateway with someone who's been very, very much a part of AgGateway for a number of years and is with Compass Regulatory, Samantha Murray. Welcome, Samantha, to the stage.
Thank you. Samantha Murray with Compass Regulatory. I've been participating in AgGateway for over 10 years. I've been at Tech Hub Live here for the last 5 years. They've been having the show. And so happy to be here. I've been in the space for about 15 years. Regulatory compliance is mainly where my focus is, working with crop inputs. And so here to bring some insights into what AgGateway is working on.
Great. Tell us a little bit about Compass Regulatory and what specifically the company does.
Yeah, there's two aspects to our company. One, we work with the regulatory side of our business is working with registrants to get the requirements together for submitting to EPA, to the individual states, post-registration activities like submission of tonnage reports to the states. It's really a level of consulting on that side of the business. And then once that product is registered and available, the other side of our business, which is the compliance aspect, takes those static PDF documents, turns them into a standardized data structure, into our own proprietary structure, and then surfaces that information through application programming interfaces, API services, so that companies such as yourselves can ingest that information into your platforms and make standardized data available to your clients.
So obviously you're deep in the nitty-gritty of data, and that's something that we talk about here. It's one thing to talk about data and data exchange on a very high level, but there's really a lot of nitty-gritty last mile work that's being done to try and make that language common and make the terminology common. I mean, can you talk about the kind of the state of where things are right now from your perspective in working with that more of the minutia on the data side?
Yeah, so there's a lot of several companies out there that have similar platforms where they're breaking down information into standardized structured databases. And why do we need that information? Because these documents are coming to us in a PDF format. So you can't read text or build logic off of those PDF documents. You actually have to have standardized structured data buckets that house that information to be able to make it usable within these platforms. And so obviously we've been in this state for a while where we've been going more and more digital. But we have a gap there of like the actual data itself and how that data communicates from platform to platform. And so why is that an issue is common language and the understanding of common language of the data.
Can you give us some examples of what
Mhm.
you're talking about when you say common language?
Yeah, exactly. So what I mean by that is you may have different geographical contexts to information. Somebody that's talking about one piece of data may understand that differently than someone else in another market. And that could even be between talking about row crops to specialty crops. That could be from company to company. You may have a definition of what your understanding of a certain meaning is of that data, but that may not be the same meaning that it is in another platform or from another company. And so a very easy example is you may have one platform that has a crop corn. The next platform may say maize. We're not saying that you both have to use corn. We're saying you need to both understand that those two things mean the same thing. And that's common language.
And at Ag Gateways, obviously, we have this among many other kinds of things that we're working on to try to bring some commonality to these things. But why is that gateway an appropriate place to kind of hash these things out, and why do you think that's a good place to have that happen?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, AgGateway is a standards organization, and so it's a neutral place where companies can go. There are a lot of members that are manufacturers, retailers, other third-party service providers such as Compass that are members of the organization. And so it's a neutral platform where you can go and have these conversations with your counterparts, with your competitors, and be able to come to a understanding amongst one another of what the need is and what your organization needs, but also get to hear the purviews of other organizations within your industry and why something may be important to them, and be able to bring those things together and have educated conversations, and ideally come to a standard that then becomes an industry standard that everybody can use to integrate into their platforms to be able to make our platforms more interoperable with one another.
I mean, ultimately, you're talking about efficiency and accuracy, and I mean, there's just a lot of benefits overall that come from being able to do that, right?
Absolutely. One of the things, I mean, talking about going from manual entry to having standardized data. We all know that you can go into a platform, you could enter Roundup into your platform, but did you spell it the same way every time that you've entered it? Did your colleagues spell it the same way? Did they put a dash? Was it actually Roundup Ready 2? What version of Roundup were you using? Did you have an EPA number that was associated to that as an identifier? And so if you don't have standardized data to go along with the common language, then again, you still can't build that interoperability and you miss out on valuable insights because you can't build analytics off the information until you have an understanding of both the meaning and the standardized data, and bringing those two things together to say, ah, that's Roundup Ready too. I know exactly what product was applied. I want to roll all of that information up from all my different locations and running analytics on that.
And I guess at the end of the day, the thing to keep in mind is this is really a long game, right? It's not. It's certainly, yeah, as we said, it's in the nitty gritty, last mile kind of work. It's not flyover territory as far as getting data to work. It's really getting into the details and working together collaboratively to make it work, and that takes time.
It does. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. Um, it's not. Um, the most glamorous of work, we'll put it that way. It is regulatory compliance. We all love to hear regulatory compliance. That was a little sarcasm, but it's a necessary evil in what we do, and we're in a highly regulated area. And because of that, the data really does need to truly be accurate and consistent, and you need to be able to communicate that information. I think in today's world, we use so many different platforms. There's not a, all-in-one solution that does everything for us. So we're using all these different platforms, and being able to have that common language, that standardized data, and bringing those things together allows us to communicate more efficiently and effectively with those other platforms.
I guess just to wrap up, what does it mean for Compass Regulatory to be a part of that gateway?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I've at my previous role and at the previous company I was in, and this company, we've been a member of Ag Gateway. And so I today actively participate in a committee called the Agri-Semantics Committee. Some of you are probably like, what is that? But it truly is about creating common language. And that's what we're, here talking about today. And so there are a lot of other things that Ag Gateway covers, not just this common language that we're talking about today, but it's important again because you get to work with your colleagues, others in the industry, to understand their ideal state of what this data looks like and why it's important to them, because we all have different needs based off of our businesses and our platforms. And so being able to work with somebody else to get a different understanding of like what your needs may be allows you to have a better understanding overall of the ag industry. And that collaborative nature that you get is, I think, invaluable, because you just not just building relationships, but it's a deeper understanding of the information overall that's required to run our industry.
Great. Well, thank you for your time, Samantha. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Thanks for joining us on this fireside chat, and we'll have another one up soon. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Paul.